we say no to ourselves all the time. And I find that as a mother, it's easier and easier to do. There's always a reason why I should be home and not do something. When my manager at the time, Nina Schreiber, texted me and said, "Can you just listen to the demo?" Just listen to the demo before, because I've told these people no 3 or 4 times. And so I listened to it, and I don't know if you're allowed to curse on this podcast,
yes.
But the word I said was, fuck. I knew the world. My world changed in the moment that I heard the demo of the song Satisfied that I get to sing in Hamilton. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda who wrote it and is a genius. He wrote all of the songs, obviously, but him on this demo of that song, I felt the world shake, the ground shook.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to How She Does It, where we have the pleasure of connecting with extremely talented women and finding out how they do it. And if you've ever seen my guest perform and heard her sing, you may have asked yourself the same question. I'm Karen Finerman. I'm a long-term Wall Street investor and a panelist on CNBC's Fast Money. And I'm thrilled to welcome the incredibly gifted Renée Elise Goldsberry to the podcast. Renée's life was transformed when she originated the role of Angelica Schuyler in the Broadway phenomenon Hamilton, winning a Tony and a Grammy along the way. Since then, the actress and singer has continued to show her range. She can kill it in comedy, as she did in the series Girls 5 Eva, but she can also take on deadly serious drama, which she does in Oscar winner Catherine Bigelow's new film, A House of Dynamite, coming to Netflix. The singer and songwriter also recently released 2 deeply personal projects, her first solo album, Who I Really Am, and the documentary Satisfied, which details her family and professional life and how she managed the two during the entire Hamilton experience. Renée and I chatted about her reflections on Hamilton as the show marks its 10th anniversary, why she credits her relationship with husband Alexis as being critical to her success, and why, at least right now, she's still not satisfied. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think you will too. First of all, oh my God, thank you so much for being here. I know you got a lot going on, so thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you for this platform that you have for all of us. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So normally we ask all our guests, how do you do it? What makes your professional and your personal life work? But you are the first guest to have a documentary that answers that question. So how did Satisfied come to be?
I was in Hamilton on Broadway in the very beginning, and at some point it was evident that it was a phenomenon because the street outside of the building was an ocean of people. And I just realized I have access to a room, to being on the inside of something that people would want to know about. So I just was filming. I was just kind of vlogging things that were happening around me. And I was envisioning my audience would be theater kids. I just thought they would want to know what it felt like to be a part of an original show. It wasn't until 2020 when we were promoting Hamilton, the film, on Disney Plus, and I realized, oh gosh, I never posted or shared any of that. My phone made movies that included the other things I was doing on those days. And that was, my son lost his first tooth, or my daughter was sick, or just the everyday things that we do in our regular life as parents. But it was happening on these really phenomenal days when, like, we would go to the White House, or I would get to meet Beyonce, or it was just a crazy awareness that I didn't have in the moment. And I think that's really interesting, that sometimes when we're in the thick of it, when we're going through the most crazy and hectic times, sometimes we're too busy to even know what we're going through.
Yes, I totally understand that. Not even having any sense of what's it like to be in a phenomenon like Hamilton, but just the days are long, the years are short.
The days are long, the years are short. The night's sleep are the shortest of all.
Okay, so Hamilton fans know that you initially turned down the audition a few times, which seems unthinkable now. What was happening in your life?
My dream had just come true. I had the family that I envisioned. I used to talk about, or I used to think about family like I'll be done trying when I can make the portrait over the fireplace. I kind of feel like in the process of having family, if you spend a lot of money to make a portrait of your family, if you have another kid, you got to get a new portrait. So I used to always feel like I wasn't done. And what happened was a miracle. I was able to bring my daughter home. And when she joined our family, my husband Alexis, my son Benjamin, and when Brielle came home, I was like, this is it. This is the picture over the fireplace. I'm done. So I was in bliss, family bliss. And it was a long time coming. It was a hard journey towards having children. And when I got there, I just thought, I'm just going to sit home and enjoy this thing I begged God for years. And then I got this email saying, will you audition for this Hamilton Mixtape, this rap musical? And I didn't want to go, not because I didn't think it was going to be brilliant, because I saw In the Heights, huge fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda. I just didn't think there was any way they would cast me. And
Why?
Because the audition said we're looking for a Nicki Minaj type.
Okay.
And I think I'm fabulous, but not that fabulous. I also just thought, I'm probably too old to play that role. We say no to ourselves all the time. And I find that as a mother, it's easier and easier to do. There's always a reason why I should be home and not do something. And there's always guilt involved anyway. And so, yeah, I thought that I would be going to an audition where I wouldn't get the job, or I would get it and then I would be in a workshop of something for 2 weeks to be recast by somebody else, because that's what happens in workshops. Somebody does it and then somebody else does it and then someone else does it. And so I was a little concerned that it would be a waste of that 2 weeks. I felt that way every single minute of the workshop, even when I was cast in it, which is also kind of talked about in the documentary. Just that journey to accepting your blessing.
There's a great scene in the documentary where you're listening to the rap and you're like, oh my God. And I got to learn this by
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't say this a lot, but I was trying to figure out how to smuggle some like Victoria's Secret body spray back into Ethiopia, where my daughter is from, for the people that were coming behind me. I was trying to figure out a way to do that just randomly in some other corner of my life, when my manager at the time, Nina Schreiber, texted me and said, can you just listen to the demo? Just listen to the demo, because I've told these people no 3 or 4 times. And so I listened to it, and I don't know if you're allowed to curse on this podcast,
Yes.
but the word I said was my world changed in the moment that I heard the demo of the song Satisfied that I get to sing in Hamilton. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda who wrote it and is a genius. He wrote all of the songs, obviously, but him on this demo of that song, I felt the world shake, the ground shook. It was just, everything was going to be different. And it didn't take me long to stop thinking about my kids and think, how am I going to learn? How am I going to figure out what he is even saying? He was rapping so fast.
And you got to learn it.
I have to learn it.
And perform it.
Yes, in a couple of hours. I think I had mom friends from my son's kindergarten that I was hosting at my house that evening. And they joke about me coming home and like they're in my house and I'm like trying to listen to this over and over again for this audition I had the next day. An audition that changed my life.
That is amazing. And the documentary is so good. But
Thank you.
So a couple of things I think are really interesting. So other celebrities have sort of somewhat more curated glimpses of their life, and you have really shown what it looks like to have a career and your family. How did it feel to sort of be that open?
I don't think it's that unique in that there's a lot of people that are sharing so much of their stories on their social media platforms. And that's definitely my brand, if you will, is authenticity. I have an album called Who I Really Am. I feel our value in life is truly our vulnerability. And so I was very comfortable with that. And I know my journey to having children was so difficult. And I was so kind of resigned almost that it wouldn't happen for me, that my life, I feel like I'm living a sliding doors version of my life, if you remember that movie with Gwyneth Paltrow many years ago.
Right.
And when you have that kind of testimony, you just feel like your only way to kind of thank God for it is to tell people who might be in the trenches in a similar way, just let them know this is the light that got me through the tunnel, and just to share it. So I was very comfortable always with that. It wasn't until the movie was on the big screen, and I was on my way to a Q&A that I hear you were at.
Yes, just coincidentally.
Coincidentally.
I know, which was great.
We were at the movie theater
Yes.
together. So you were watching the movie.
With my producer, and we were and then, okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, and I you didn't even know I was going to be there
No.
with Kelly O'Hara, who produced the movie with me. Yeah, we were just going to do a Q&A about it. I was on my way to that Q&A, and all of a sudden, it was the first time I felt completely exposed. I just felt like, oh God, now people are all over the country that care about anything I've ever done. They're going to go out of their way to see this movie. And it is very vulnerable. And I just was like, started hyperventilating. I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Why did I do this? How do I get out of this? I just kind of freaked out for a second. And then I had eyelashes on from earlier in the day, and I wasn't allowed to indulge myself because I didn't want to cry them off. So I just like sucked it up, and I went in, and the love from people like, yourself, just watching it and recognizing part of their own journey in the story makes it easy again.
I have 2 sets of twins,
Oh,
which is the
wow.
product of a,
Yes.
I always say the fertility clinic.
Yes.
It was buy one, get one that got sort of out of hand. And I know that journey is a very difficult one.
Mm-hmm. And my dream was
Yes.
to have twins. The Lord knew what he was doing when he gave me one child at a time. I don't know how you do it, but
It's
kudos
exhausting.
to you.
It's
I
exhausting.
don't even know how you do it.
So, Benjamin and Brielle are seen throughout the documentary. How did you decide how much of them you wanted to have?
What I had was their permission in the beginning. I have a testimony, but it's not just mine. It's their story too. So I was that was what I was most worried about, which is why I was really grateful to get to partner with Kelly O'Hara, and Audra McDonald is also one of the producers on the film. They're incredibly protective of their children. They've lived this story themselves. And I felt like they would help me navigate how much was too much. And we all had the ability, including my children, to say, I don't want that in. That was kind of part of the contract. I just wanted to make sure they were protected in that way. So the crazy thing is that children grow so fast.
Yes.
And what I thought would be something that was sharing something about who they were, it turned into them so many years later looking at the movie and thinking, those kids are so cute. Because they don't even remember themselves at that time.
They are so cute, though. And I mean, you talk about Brielle when you bring her home.
Yeah.
And the way Benjamin just interacts with her is so divine.
Yeah.
And they're so cute at that age.
They're
and
so
just,
beautiful.
I mean, they really are spectacular. Even as we see them get bigger, they're still
Someone I did a Q&A last night, and somebody raised their hand to make a comment. But the most beautiful thing she said, she's like, I was so moved, obviously by my husband. When you watch the documentary, he is
we're gonna get to that.
hands down star. But she said something I hadn't heard before, and that is, I was so moved by how compassionate your children were to you in that stage of your life. And I know how compassionate my children are. They're amazing human beings, but I hadn't connected just how gentle they were with me.
You, at the restaurant.
Oh my God, I could cry. The work, just their kind of innate just effort to support me. It's just so beautiful and so telling of who they are. And also, I think, so beautifully modeled by my husband.
Yes.
I think he modeled a behavior of how we're going to support everyone in this family. Everyone in this family thrives, and we're not going to show them a face that's what we don't have because you're not here every minute. So I think he modeled that behavior, and I think they were just very supportive and gentle with me, and they were babies, and it just really moves me.
There is a great scene in the documentary where you talk about what it takes to be married to someone in your profession.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us that?
Absolutely. I was aware of this. I met my husband right before I turned 30. We got married a couple years later. I was an actress and a singer. I was trying to do all the things that I get to celebrate doing at this time. The jury was really out, like not looking good on any of my dreams coming true in the capacity that they have or that I had dreamed that they would. When I met my husband, I was a working actress. I think I was on like Ally McBeal. I got to sing background on that show. I mean, I was close enough to see a lot of people that I'm still very good friends with blow up, but it did not look like it was going to happen for me. And I was grateful that I just got to be in the game. And when I met my husband, and I thought, this could go either way. You could either be supporting me for the rest of your life. Literally every day you come home from work, I'm sitting in the same place on the couch wearing the exact same thing, talking about I'm writing a song in my head. Do you know what I'm saying? Or you could be Mr. Goldsberry holding my purse on the red carpet. When we dream, we flirt always with our dream coming true. And and that it can be, that's a dangerous place to meet a partner, especially because even if it doesn't work out, the thing you have to navigate if it doesn't is, will that be a cancer in me? Or will I still be a person that has hope and faith and power and be love and light, if it doesn't work out? Like, there's a lot of things you don't know yet when you meet a person in that stage of their journey. And I knew that I needed to marry someone that could do either extreme. And I knew that he was that. And that's why I was like, I do.
He is that.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even know you could sing, which was so funny.
It's so funny. I remember meeting him feeling really grateful that he didn't really, we met at church. He had no real idea what I did. He just knew I was an actress, but we lived in LA. Everybody was an actress. And we were madly in love with each other before there was any see me do something or not. And then one day it crossed my mind, I think I say this in the documentary. He probably should actually, because he's got to be in love with this thing that I do also, because this is a huge part of me. And so I remember we were at an event and I was singing some patriotic song, because that's what we did back then in a restaurant. And right when that thought had crossed my head, oh God, what if he doesn't like my singing? And I sang something and he was in the back of the room and he started crying and I'm like, check.
There were probably 12 other people crying though.
But I don't know. It was a restaurant. The sound system was bad. But I'll just add this. It's another thing I believe. And that is, I always thought you would meet your significant other and the sky would part. And there would be a voice coming down that says, this is your husband. And that's not how it happened for me. It was always little affirmations like that. Something would cross my mind. I'd freak out. And then some little thing would happen. I'd be like, oh no. You're okay. You're safe. It was just one little thing at a time kind of led me to this awareness that this was my person.
That is, he is fantastic. So we know that building your family was challenging. You're very open about that. You had fertility issues. Brielle came through adoption. What role did your faith play during this time?
Huge. There is, and it's crazy because in the documentary, I talk very much about these two dreams of being an entertainer and having a family. And the beauty of the dream of being an entertainer, being on that journey, it's so unsure. Everybody tells most kids, get something to fall back on, because it seems so unsure that it will work. And people, I think, just assume that if they want to try to have kids, they're going to have kids. So I was very accustomed to having to have faith, because I was already in a profession that the odds were so stacked against it ever working out. And I needed to have something bigger than me to believe in to keep moving forward. And I've always been don't let me be trying to do this one thing if it's not going to work out. Use my gift and this capacity in a way that does something for the world. And if it's not going to be this, let me do something else. So I've always been in a constant conversation with God in the era of my career, just to keep moving forward, because there's just no guarantee. Now, even more so, you're in a constant conversation of, what am I supposed to be doing with these gifts that you've given me? Please let it be what you want me to do, because most likely that's going to work out. And if it's really just for me, who knows? The world does not need any of the things I do in my industry. So I'm always in a constant conversation. And so that conversation was easy to transfer into family and children. When I realized it was even harder to have kids than it was to get a job as an actor, it was very easy to just really find a way to be prayerful. And my husband would say, God's going to give us kids or he's not, and we're going to be okay. And I loved knowing that whatever happened, we're going to be okay. I believe that what we're guaranteed is peace, not necessarily a specific outcome, and I have it.
So you have that, but also let's talk about another very big thing that happens at the same time, right? You are in the middle of this mega hit, Hamilton. This was a phenomenon and a freight train. And this is what every actress wants, and how thrilling it is to be a part of that. But that wasn't all easy. What is the other side of that?
The other side of it is just there's just not enough hours of the day. There's just an irony, I'll have to say, when you spend so much time on your knees praying for children, and then as soon as you get them, you're like, see you later. I got a 7:30 call time. The hours of the day for Broadway are just the opposite for children. The earliest you have to be at work is literally 1:30 p.m. or 1 p.m. because you're going to be working all night long. And even if you have one show on that day, you're so wired and up when it's over, you don't want to go to bed. And children's hours are first thing in the morning. And that's the only time I really got with my kids is first thing in the morning. So it feels like a lot of burning the candle on both ends. It feels like a lot of missing, their lives happen, a lot of it when you're not there. And kids want to be tucked in. They want to be tucked in at night. And I missed a lot of tuck-ins. And there's a lot of guilt involved in that. And wondering who's making a sacrifice for this thing that's amazing that's happening in my life. And is that fair? And is it right? There's just a lot of questions in your brain for all of us when we're trying to do the thing we also always dreamed of doing. It's wonderful to share it in this documentary because it's universal. It's not something that only happens when you're in a Broadway show. It happens for all of us when it comes to trying to figure out how to navigate how to pay our bills, how to navigate our ambition, how to navigate so many things, and also take care of our families.
You have these great clips of your FaceTime with the kids from bedtime.
Yeah.
Did that satisfy you to pick the word of the day?
Heartbreaking. They are heartbreaking. When I look back on them now, first of all, because my children, I'm clearly not objective, but the adorable kind of ways to say goodnight when you're not there. And I have to say, it feels like a crazy thing to complain about because where I was when I wasn't there was awesome. I'm sure you've seen footage of me with that cast of people. We love each other. If we were not on stage having the most amazing time playing the best roles ever written for anybody, we were backstage like tears streaming down our face laughing about whatever we were doing. It was a magical time. So it wasn't like I was being tortured when I wasn't with my children. But there's also nobody more important in my life than my family. And they're only this age once. And to not be there to say goodnight and to watch how compassionately they would say goodnight to me on a FaceTime. When I watch it now, it is heartbreaking. In a beautiful way.
I mean, they are so cute. But were you aware of this feeling some of the times like, you know what, I'd rather be here?
You know what's crazy? I don't think I ever said that. I just wanted both. I mean, and the truth of the matter is I wanted both. I didn't want to have to choose.
Right.
I wanted, what do women want? Everything.
Everything, yeah.
Everything. I wanted
and
I wanted
at the same
both.
time.
And at the same time. I feel, though, that's how life happens. I feel like we think that our dreams are going to come true in some kind of very well-organized kind of rollout. And I think that life is an ice bucket challenge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like
dump it on your head.
Literally, it's like here. What do you want? What you want here? And it's literally you're like the coach of the football team, and they're standing behind you, and they dump the whole bucket of ice and water on your head, and you're kind of pissed, but you're also glad that you won the Super Bowl. That's kind of how I feel like life happens to us.
That's funny. Okay, I haven't heard anyone make that analogy, but I totally get it.
Just cold, wet, and happy.
Right. All right. Well, congratulations on your first solo album.
Thank you
Who
so
I Really
much.
Am. I know you wrote a majority of the songs on the album. How would you describe that process?
It took a long time. It started in 2020, and those things I started in that mid-COVID were the documentary. We started with that. The idea was born in that time because we were promoting the Hamilton film, and also this album, the writing of this music. And it's a miracle and incredibly synergistic that it all happened. It was coming to a head at the same time. Hamilton's 10th year anniversary is this year. Who knew that movie was going to be released on the big screen. It was always intended to be released on the big screen, but when COVID happened, we decided, and by we, I should say the creators and the producers of that show, just brilliant and wonderful human beings, and they realized that while it was our dream to put it on the big screen, it would be wrong to hoard theater in a time when there is no theater. And so they decided, let's pivot and let's put it out on Disney Plus. And it was a sacrifice actually to do it in a way, because we all had a dream of getting to see ourselves on the big screen. And what's awesome 10 years later in this anniversary is that they actually doubled back and they put it on the big screen, and the world decided to celebrate it again with us in that way, even though they had already seen the movie before. And it worked out well for me because it took me that long to finish this album and the documentary, and we were able to put songs from the album in the documentary because they're all autobiographical, and then we could tie the documentary to the 10th anniversary of Hamilton and put it in the big screen, on the big screen right after. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle that it's cosmically all coming together.
Yeah.
At the very same time. Does it make you nervous?
Every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. I have a very good friend named Paula Pell. She was on a show called Girls 5 Eva with me. She's one of the funniest, most beautiful human beings that ever lived, but also one of the wisest. And she said to me about a year or so ago, when you get older, you confuse excitement with anxiety. Right? We experience things that are exciting as things that make us anxious. And I do it all the time. Where I would have been younger, excited. Oh my God, it's the premiere of the Hamilton movie. Oh, I get to go on how she does it and talk about it should be exciting, but it's anxiousness. It's like, how is it going to go? Until after it's over, and then I'm excited that it happened, past tense. So that was something I'll never forget, because I see it playing out in my life, and I try to be mindful of it. So I tell myself, I'm not good at it, but you're feeling anxious, but what you are is excited.
All right. That's a good spot to take a quick break. So we ask on this show, women who've been wildly successful, what did you do with the first big paycheck you got?
Oh my God. What did I do with the first? I don't even remember having a big paycheck. I've been really blessed because I've been able to pay my bills doing what I dream of doing. And I always am really aware that people make choices on how they want to figure out how to navigate, living in the world as an artist. And some people don't want to use their art in any way outside of their kind of how they really want to point it. They don't want to compromise it at all by singing at a theme park. They only want to sing their original music, and they don't want to do anything else. And so they'll work at a coffee shop, or they'll work at a store, or they'll have a business on the side to pay their bills. And I actually made a different choice, and both choices are valid. Mine was I will show up as long as I can keep my clothes on. Do you know what I mean? I'll show up and sing anywhere, anything. Or acting, I've been able to be a bit of a chameleon, because I will work in any capacity. As I said, our skills are transferable. And what I've always been able to do is find a way to pay my bills, whether it's being in a play, whether it's singing a jingle, whether it's doing a voiceover. And so what I have always used, any check I got for it, I've used it to pay for the life I live. And that's a miracle. Right. I don't have an extravagance. I think it's extravagant to be able to make a living doing the thing that is my heart's desire.
Well said. So let's talk about your range a little bit, right? You have done a lot of things. You've been a backup singer in Ally McBeal, right? You have done Rent. You have done The Lion King, The Color Purple, Girls 5 Eva, and Hamilton, of course. Your latest role is in a pretty serious movie, right? You play the First Lady in Catherine Bigelow's new film, House of Dynamite. How did this come about?
I was at a school event for my son, and I got a text message from my agent, and I ran out of the auditorium. And they were just we got a call from Catherine Bigelow and her producer, and there is a role in a film that they are shooting of the First Lady. You would shoot in a little bit north of Nairobi, Kenya, for about a week, and you would be playing the wife of Idris Elba. And I said, how soon can I get there? They were like, they want to have a Zoom with you to like talk about it to see if you want to do it. I'm like, we could have the Zoom. But clearly I'm saying yes to this opportunity. Yeah, Catherine Bigelow is
Bigelow, for people who
start right
don't
there.
know,
the
Catherine
first
Bigelow.
woman to win an Oscar for directing. She directed The Hurt Locker. She directed Zero Dark 30 and so many other movies that are just amazing. This movie, A House of Dynamite, is kind of considered in the trilogy of her war movies. It's about a missile, they don't know where it came from, is launched towards the United States. And so what this movie is like watching the different groups of people in this 18-minute segment that they have. That's about how long they would have in real life to figure out how they're going to respond to a missile launch at our country. So all of the people that practice every single day how to manage that are faced with it in real life for the first time ever. And we see them navigating that. It's thrilling, and it's a cautionary tale. And the value of me playing the First Lady and being out on safari in this beautiful conservancy, thousands and thousands of acres of a conservancy, is just to show in the backdrop around me what is at stake in our kind of nuclear proliferation. It's an amazing movie. It was a wonderful opportunity to do it. And I do love that I get to play so many different kinds of roles.
And Idris Elba.
Yeah, it was hard. You know what the hard part was? Our scenes, he's not he's actually doing the work of the presidency. And so our scenes are all on the phone together. And that was a little cruel. But I did have the opportunity to go and meet him and work with him and do my side of our calls from, just kind of offset with him. He's a tremendously just wonderful human being. And it's another pinch me moment to have an opportunity to meet him and to work with him in any capacity.
Well, you got a big pinch me file.
I got a pinch me file.
Okay. Just to talk about your range for a second, how do you think you've avoided being pigeonholed in any of the genres?
It's so crazy. Hopefully that'll continue. I think one thing is just being an actor from the theater and having done so many things. I think theater actors, I think we're living in a golden age as theater actors, because there was a time when if somebody, especially as a singer, there was a time if somebody said, "Oh, you sound really music theater," it wasn't a compliment, because they didn't think it was something that could really resonate in other kind of genres. And now I think thanks to so many of our modern composers and storytellers in the theater, they look to us because we sing everything, we act in every capacity, and we are doing all kinds of things. If you look at obviously Lin, who's writing in many different genres, and you have actors like Leslie Odom Jr. or Cynthia Erivo, or all of us are able to do so many different kinds of things. They're not pigeonholing us anymore, and that's awesome. It's also funny though, because on Girls 5 Eva, it was a very comedic role, and a director friend of mine said to me one day that she was considering me for some part. She told somebody, and they were like, "Renée Goldsberry, isn't that comedy actor?" And it's so funny because you're kind of always the last thing you did.
Right.
I've been an action hero in She-Hulk and in Altered Carbon. I've gotten to do dramatic roles in Waves. I've gotten to do so many things, and I don't know that we have a tremendous amount of control over what boxes people put us in, but I have a lot of faith about that too.
All right. Well, so far that's working. I heard you speak about your documentary's title, Satisfied, and how being an artist means there's always some ambition for the next thing.
That's so true.
Right? So professionally, what do you want to do that maybe you haven't done?
What do I want to do that maybe I haven't done? The first things that cross my mind really are about like paying bills. I love television so much. So I would love to do some more shows that just are really wide reaching and different from things people have seen me do in the past. I would love one of my songs, like you said, you loved Smiling. I would love it to just burn up the charts. I would love somebody to pick it up in some way that it really kind of resonates. I'd love to have written an anthem for something. I'm about to do another show on Broadway called The Ballisters in the spring. Straight play, so I'll just be acting, and that's a wonderful thing to do. A great playwright named David Lindsay Aber, who I've worked with before. And I think it's a little bit of more of the same.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with lightning rounds. All right, Renée, it's time for our lightning round. We have some fun questions for you.
Let's do it.
Okay. All I ask is that you just answer with the first thing that pops into your head. Don't think.
Not hard.
Okay.
Not hard at all.
Here we go. Would you rather matinee or evening show?
Matinee.
Why?
Actually, the answer should have been evening show, but you told me not to think. And all I could think about is if I'm home early, I can go to bed.
Oh, you can go to bed. Okay, good. Okay, would you rather host SNL or host the Tonys?
Oh, that's hard. Probably SNL.
Okay.
Because I've gotten to host the Tonys a little bit, and I've never had an opportunity to host SNL. It seems really scary, but I think I'm up for it.
Okay, would you rather a night on the red carpet or an afternoon at a volleyball game?
A night on the red carpet.
Okay.
Yeah, I love an afternoon at a volleyball game, especially because my daughter just started playing volleyball. That's a good question. Isn't that terrible? How good of a mom? And I'm like, see you later. It's so hard to not be with my kids, but I'll see you later. I'll get all dressed up and see my friends on the red carpet. Very telling. That answer is very telling.
Okay. Would you rather a love song or a breakup song?
Love song.
Okay. Would you rather, this is uniquely to you, throw out the first pitch at a Yankee game or sing America the Beautiful at the Super Bowl?
Oh my gosh. That's so funny because I've gotten to do both.
We know.
I would say the Super Bowl all day.
Okay.
I love the Yankee game, but there's nothing harder than trying to get that ball from the pitcher's mound all the way to the catcher's mitt.
It's so much further than it looks.
It is not as easy as it looks. Woo!
Okay. What is your favorite song to sing with or to your kids?
So many. I love singing with my kids. Christmas time is coming up. My daughter's favorite song is Mary, Did You Know? I like singing it with them. We're famous in my family, if you know us.
You are famous.
For within our community for our birthday videos. Our birthday, I will write a song in 5 minutes and make all of my family get a part in it, and we will send you a happy birthday song. And people literally just want to get older so that they can get our songs. I'm really good at that thing, and that's my favorite thing to do with my kids.
Okay, that's a really good one. Okay. Would you rather an Ally McBeal reunion or a Girls 5 Eva reunion?
Ooh, that's hard. I love them both, but I have to say Girls 5 Eva.
Okay.
And maybe I should say Ally McBeal because I have a Girls 5 Eva reunion tomorrow. I literally have one coming up tomorrow. So we get them often, so maybe I should say Ally McBeal so I'll see people that I wouldn't normally see.
Okay. What is a song in Hamilton that's not yours that you would love to perform?
Oh, gosh. Ooh, the first thing that comes to my head is probably one of David Jefferson's raps, just because there's a question on whose raps are harder. And right. I would love to have to figure that out.
Okay, Renee Fleming or Renee Rapp?
Ooh, so hard. They both are named so well.
Yeah.
I'll say Renee Fleming because she's older and I always want to go for the woman that's been around longer. But Renee Rapp is like, I'm her biggest fan.
Okay. Would you rather be moved or laugh uncontrollably?
Laugh uncontrollably.
Okay, this one is for my producer. She had to put it in. When can we see an onstage co-op reunion?
Oh my God!
This is the documentary
so
that is just
good.
Too funny. With
you know
Paula
what?
Pell, as you
with
mentioned.
Paula Pell.
Yes.
And, oh my God. John
right.
Mulaney. Yeah, Richard. Oh my God. Alex Brightman. John Mulaney, we did a little Broadway stint together. We had a bit of a reunion this last Christmas for a play called All In. And John Mulaney, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this even, he sent us a text like a month or so later basically saying, if we made co-op actual musical, would you do it? I think it was all me, Fred, Richard was on it, Alex was on it, Paula was on it, and they just, because we're writing something and we want to know if you would do it. And I don't know how quickly we all were like, yes!
Oh, that is so great.
So we'll see if it happens, but I would love that.
Okay, well, let's hope that happens. That would be great. Okay, last question, 2 parts. What is the best investment you've ever made and the worst? And it doesn't need to be an investment.
Oh, okay.
Typical. It could be time or it
The
could be a
best
class.
investment, like money, it could be anything.
Or it could be money, anything.
Well, investment, ooh, every minute, every minute on my knees for my family. Best investment. Every all-nighter trying to take my daughter's hair out. Every minute I've spent with my family in any capacity is the best investment. It definitely is the most rewarding and the most filling and the most, just like it's a sliding doors version of my life. So definitely that. And probably, what was the second thing?
The worst investment you ever made.
The worst investment, because what I think about when it comes to investment, I think the most valuable commodity is time. And so the investment of time in my family is always rewarded. The investment of time second guessing myself and worrying about how well I'm going to do, that is a waste of my time. It's hard to stop doing it, but that investment of time, I mean, especially at this stage in my life, I spend so much time not sleeping. I go to sleep and I will wake up with anxiety, worrying about how I'm going to pull off whatever opportunity is in store for me on that day. Another really good piece of advice a really good friend gave me, Camila Marshall. She said, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Everything that happens in your life, even if it is the worst thing, she had lost her mother recently. Even when I think about losing my mother, who I miss every single day and try to survive every single day without her, even that happened for me. And I just love the power in that statement and the perspective in that statement. And so this idea, I'm a perfectionist, the idea of spending time to get things right and making the right choices, I spend a lot of time on that, really negates the truth. And that is, however it turns out, there is something there for you to learn. There is something there for someone else to see, even if it is, I don't want to wear what she wore. I don't want to sound like she just sounded. I don't want to say, even if it's that, there is a value in it. And so the time worrying about it is wasted.
Wasted time. That is a bad investment.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was it. Thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you so much for this awesome opportunity, for this platform. And when you figure out how she does it, will you let me know?
I've figured out a lot of how you don't do it. I can tell you that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.